Hey, I'm Brian Cohn of BCone Knives. In this video, I'm going to finish up working on this knife that I made with my brother. I'm super excited. Let's get into it. Jumping right into this build, I'm going to protect Nick's knife with a little bit of Blues painter's tape since I'm over here on the grinder. I would hate to mess up and scratch the surface of his blade. Yeah, that would just make me a bad brother, wouldn't it? We have a lot of handle material kind of blocky here on the handle, so the first thing I really need to do is to massively reduce the size of this handle. So the best way to do that is to use the side of my belt grinder here, the 2x72 broadback belt grinder, which I have a review video. Please go ahead and check that out if you're interested. But yeah, so I'm basically just reducing the overall size and blockiness of this handle and making it smaller. Let's go ahead and cut to a little bit later in the process where I have it down a little bit further. After a few minutes of grinding, I now have the overall profile of the handle shaped. So now I'm going to focus on making sure that each side of the handle is the same thickness. You can see there that the thickness is not equal, so now I'm just gingerly grinding each side to make sure that it's thin from top to bottom, side to side, absolute equal thinness all the way across. And just like that, I have an equal thinness on both sides, and I'm very happy with where I'm at. So my next step is to cut a 45-degree angle all the way around the perimeter, and this right here is why I have a videographer. Yet again, my focus is not put in the right spot, so I'm just going to show you where I'm at after I cut that 45. Here's what it looks like once you have all of those 45-degree bevels cut into your handle. Next, I'm going to focus on the end where I'm going to just kind of round it over, make it nice and aesthetically pleasing and comfortable in the hand. After that, I focus on the bolster area to make sure that it tapers down perfectly. If you have a perfect taper in this area, it'll make the handle super comfortable in the hand, and that is an absolute must when you're doing these custom handles. Here's that finished taper geometry. I am very happy with this, and I actually use this on all of my kitchen knives. I just find that it fits the hand absolutely perfectly. So after this, I hit it with the 60 grit, and here I am jumping to the 120 grit. You have to go through all of the grits. I go 36 for shaping, 60, 120, 240, and then obviously ending on the 400 grit on the handles. I find that that makes for a really nice hand texture with this natural wood. So you can see I'm using the slack on the top of the belt grinder. That just allows for shaping that handle so it kind of smooths over those harsh corners and makes for a really fantastic and comfortable fit. I want to take a moment here while you're watching me shape the handle to please subscribe. I've been looking through my analytics, and only about 10% of the people who watch my videos actually take the step to subscribe to the channel. You know, if everybody subscribes to the channel, that would absolutely boost my analytics and would be an absolute godsend to help my channel. So please take that extra step and help my channel by hitting the subscribe button. And heck, make fun of me down in the comments for not having my focus figured out yet. I will definitely from here on out be focusing on making sure that my focus is correct, because this is ridiculous and you guys deserve better than that. After shaping that handle for a while, I'm here and in full focus, making sure to get all of those tight radiuses nice and radiused out with the small wheel attachment. Hey, if you guys are interested in the small wheel attachment, I will go ahead and do a video. Just let me know in the comment section down below to, you know, do a whole video focused around the small wheel attachment and all of the uses. I actually have quite a few uses for them in this video. You'll see after I do this later on, I will bring out the small wheel attachment again to put in all the serrations. Here I am doing a once over the entire handle with the 400 grit sandpaper with a slack portion of the belt. Basically, this is the flat platen attachment with the flat platen removed. That gives you a nice slack, and it is absolutely perfect for getting into all of those nice tight radiuses and making sure that you are able to smooth out all of your handle perfectly, so you give yourself a nice, comfortable, but yet tactile feel on your handle. I am finally done grinding on the handle portion, so I am finally able to remove the scotch tape over the blade, and this is always one of my favorite parts of knife making because this is the first time you get to see your blade where it's almost completely finished and it just looks pretty. I love this step. Before I work on the serrations on the small wheel attachment, I have to make sure that this knife is sharp. So logically, I could understand where you'd think, well, you're just going to grind in all of those serrations. Why do you need to sharpen the edge before you grind that mostly away? Well, the very point and the very tips of all of those serrations is actually what you're sharpening right here. Yes, there's going to be the vast majority of this sharp edge going to be ground away, but you absolutely need to make sure that all of those points are sharp before you put in the serrations. I find that it's a heck of a lot easier to put in all of your serrations in the right spot if you put a little Sharpie mark where they're supposed to go. So all of these are spaced about 1/4 inch, and I go all the way from the heel to the tip of the knife, putting in all of those Sharpie marks. Adding serrations to a knife is honestly one of the more tedious parts of all of knife making, but you can also mess it up in just a split second, so you have to be totally concentrated the entire time. Even though this video is in 4 times speed, you can see just how slowly I'm putting in each of those serrations. The belt speed is all the way down to 20%, so you have to go super slow, and you have to be very deliberate with every single serration you're putting in. This will take you a long time if you try to do it, and the first couple knives you try to put serrations in, I almost guarantee you'll mess up. So please, if you're going to try this out, try it out on a couple pieces of scrap before you go ahead and try this on a full knife. Skipping along to the end of the first side I put on the serrations, yes, I said the first side, because after that I switch over and put in serrations on the other side of the knife. Now I find that this thins down the edge geometry significantly and makes for a much sharper knife. Now this side goes by quite a bit quicker because you already have the geometry of each serration put in, so all you're doing is matching that on the other side. You can see I'm still being very careful with each serration, and I'm just slowly rocking each and every serration into where it's supposed to be. Honestly, it's just kind of a feel thing, and you have to do a couple serrated knives before you get comfortable with this process. After roughing in the serrations on the second side of the knife, I just go through real quick and make sure that all of the serrations are nice and even on both sides of the knife and just kind of finesse each of the grinds in. After that, I go through all of my sharpening grits. So you can see right here, I'm putting them in at 220 grit. After that, I do 400 grit, 800 grit, 1000, 500 grit, and 2500 grit to finish for a nice sharp edge. Now that this knife is super sharp, I want to protect the natural wood handle with Axe Wax. Now, Axe Wax is not a sponsor of my channel, but I want to go ahead and shout them out anyways because they make an awesome product that protects all natural woods, and honestly, I go ahead and put it on almost all handles that come out of my shop. I absolutely love the way that this knife turned out. Nick did a great job. That's it for this build. I am so proud of how this thing turned out. Nick did an absolutely fantastic job forging this thing. Before we get out of here, let's go ahead and look at some nice close-up pictures of how this thing turned out and see how this thing cuts. Check it out. That's it for this video. I truly appreciate every single one of you guys for your support of my small business. I couldn't do half of what I do without your guys' support. Please go ahead and check out my Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok pages. All of the links for those will be in the description down below. I also have a website if you want to check out my available knives. That will also be down in the description down below. I truly appreciate you guys, and if you want to hear more from me, go ahead and check me out on the Work For It podcast. That is a fantastic podcast with Brian House, Ben Butler, and myself, where we talk about business in the workplace and jib and jab back and forth. Really interesting discussions go on there. I truly appreciate every single one of you guys. Have a great rest of your day.